Woo! What's going on, guys? Orms Forum coming at you today with another video, and we got some Detroit Lions news, some extensions going on. The Detroit Lions extend left tackle Taylor Decker. Been with the organization since 2016, drafted in the first round, 16th overall, by the way, too. Going on, this is his eighth or ninth season going on now. His third contract with the Detroit Lions. My assumption is that he's probably going to retire a Detroit Lion, but they give him a 3-year, $60 million extension added on top of his 1 year left on his second deal. So $31.83 million of that guaranteed. That puts him up until 2027, and he'll be a free agent, or more than likely retire. Who knows? In 2028, but I guess you never know, but that would make him, he's 30 years old right now, that would make him 33, 34 years old, right? So he's 30 years old at the time he's right now. So, this kind of puts away all the talks about, moving Sewell to left tackle, possibly trading Decker and moving Sewell again, getting rid of just Taylor Decker all around. This kind of makes it go away, and Decker's at least a Detroit Lion for at least another 2 to 3 years. We'll see how he holds up. He's been fairly healthy for a bit now. He's suffered some injuries through his career, but he's had a couple surgeries going on. He even had one, I think, recently. He had one, and the Lions kind of, Decker was a little bit concerned. He wanted to know what was really going on with his future, and I think the Lions really wanted to see how he was feeling and looking, during OTAs and mini camp and, early on in training camp that just passed. Now they're hitting now. But they had no pads on for the last 4 days, and I think they really wanted to get a good look at him and get a good feel and think about what they're going to do with him, man. Because hey, he's 30. It's not old, in human years, but in football years, NFL years, that's old. So and with Taylor Decker, I'm glad they got this deal done. I'm not a huge homer though. If you guys know what I'm trying to drive at. I don't think Taylor Decker is a great left tackle. I don't think he's some elite superstar left tackle. I think everybody can agree with me on that. I know there's people out there that think that he's one of the better left tackles in the NFL. I don't think he is. I think he's good. I think he's solid. He's decent. He's all of that. He's not great or elite like that, and that's okay. I don't have any issue with that. And his deal. I think he was set to make something like $13 or $14 million this year, and they extended him. So, gave him the $20 million per for the 3 years. I'm assuming his deal doesn't kick in until next year. I think he's probably still going to make around 13 or 14 million and change or whatever it is, and then they'll start making $20 million a season. If you want to add the 4 years though, at 60 million, it's $15 million per. If you want to make it sound better to yourself, you can. But he is, in reality, the 7th highest paid left tackle in football, and in my opinion, I think he's around the 12th or 13th best left tackle in football, and I think that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with being that. Even if you want to say he's middle of the pack at 16, 15, 16. I don't have an issue with you. I don't have an issue with you or any of that. I think he's a good left tackle. I think he's a guy that's been here since, he's the day one guy. I think he was Taylor Decker. I think he was Bob Quinn's first draft pick. Ohio State product, 6'8", 320, 330 pounds, whatever he is. He's a beast of a human being. And, He's a guy that's been around for a bit. He always wanted to stick around this team, and you got to give guys like that credit. Like, man, he probably could have left. I don't know if there are a lot of suitors out there for him, but he's, like I said, he's not a bad left tackle. He probably could have left, but he wanted to stick around, and you got to give him credit for that, man. He's a leader. He leads by example. Been around. Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, they love the guy. I have no issues with this. I don't think he's a top 10 left tackle though, but like I said, no problems. It's just this team, they want to keep a continuity going. Like, especially with the O-line. You know, like, you don't really want to see your O-line having a lot of changeover. You know, we made a little bit of a changeover this year, bringing in Zeitler, letting Jonah Jackson walk. But basically, we've kept all the core. We've kept the core, and, you know, keeping your left tackle, you know, Goff, I'm sure Goff is happy. He did give up 8 sacks last year. You know, that's kind of high. The one bad game he had was versus Green Bay. It was in Detroit, too, as well, where he gave up 3-4 sacks. Rashad Gary literally abused him that game. And played better against him in the first game, you know. Rashad Gary pushed him around a little bit, but Rashad Gary didn't do much in that first half. Created some pressures and stuff like that, but didn't really have any sacks on him. Didn't have any really tackles. Didn't have any numbers, but the pressures were there. He worked Decker, but Decker worked him back. In the second game, Rashad Gary abused him. Now that second game, though, I think we had, was it Colby Sorsdal? We had Colby Sorsdal kind of working next to Decker, and I'm not making any excuse for Decker, because, you know, he needs to contain that outside edge. He needs to contain those guys coming in, stuff like that. But he did have a rookie next to him for that game against the Green Bay Packers in that second game. So, so take that with a grain of salt. But I think this was a good signing. You know, you brought back a veteran. You brought back a guy that's tough. You brought back a guy that cares. You brought back a guy that wanted to be here. So I have no issues with this. The cap hit is 19.1 for 2024, I believe, and only a 12.95 million salary. And then the cap hit next year is 3.9 million for 2025. Don't know the full details of this yet. There will 100% be an out, because it's a 3-year extension, you know, and then you add this year on his second contract that he received from Quinn and Company. So my guess is that there will be an out either after 2 or 3 years. If it's not working, and if it's working, he plays until 2027, and then they figure out what goes on after there. But my guess is that he is going to retire a Detroit Lion within the next 2-3 years, and I think that's fine. And then you worry about moving Sewell or bringing in another left tackle. You know, because it kind of seems like maybe they're kind of grooming Colby Sorsdal to be that right tackle of the future. And then maybe they'll move Sewell over there. But it's not happening anytime soon. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. It's not happening this year. It probably won't happen next year. Could it be a possibly in 2026 that it happens? That's way down the road. Now, Brad Holmes broke this news on 97.1 The Ticket. 97.1 The Ticket is a Detroit radio station, a sports radio station, and he was on the morning show with Jansen and that new guy. I can't think of his name, but there's a new guy that fills in for Stoney. He's he's pretty good at what he does too. I just can't believe I forget his name, but it used to be called the Stoney and Jansen show. It's the morning show from 97.1 The Ticket. And they had Brad Holmes on there, and he broke the news. And he also said that Aleem McNeil is coming next. Aleem McNeil is our defensive tackle, so we'll see what happens there. And I really like what Taylor Decker said too when he was talking about this, because he had him out there on the podium. He's like talking about the culture here. It's not built on sand. It's genuine. It's real. I love that quote. I think it's a real quote. It's not sand. It's concrete. It's concrete. It's stable. That's exactly what this culture is. It's not just teetering. You know, it's not worried about sinking or anything like that. It's real, and players want to be here. And I love stuff like that. So this took like an 18-month process as well. The Decker has been asking about this for a little bit, and he went up to Campbell and he asked him, "What's the deal, man? You guys bringing me back? What do you think's going on?" And all Campbell said to him was, "Just be patient." You know what I mean? So I love that. Not mincing words, just telling him, be patient. It's coming. Don't worry about it. Just do your job, and the rest will work itself out. And it happened. You know, he had a little bit of a down year last year, but if you take away that one game, I hate being that guy that says that. It's actually a pet peeve of mine. But if you do take that game away, he did have a better year. But in all reality, he did have 8 sacks against him. He needs to be a little bit better this year, and he's going to be a guy that's going to have where the positives are going to outweigh the negatives. He's going to have more good games than bad. That's, you know what I mean? But he's going to throw a couple stinkers in there every now and then. It's going to happen. You know, it even happens to the greats, but he's not one of the greats. He's just a good, solid tackle, left tackle. No Pro Bowls to his name, no All Pros, but he's just been a guy that's been absolutely solid for his whole career. I don't think he has any Pro Bowls. If he does, he has one, but I don't know if he does. Maybe as a reserve, but I'm not too sure. I don't think he does, but that's okay. You know, you don't have to be Pro Bowls, All Pros to be a solid player, and I think that's what he is. So he's signed $20 million per. Not as much money this year. You know, the cap hit I think is even less next year. So more details to come out. I'm not going to make another video on it, but you know, he's here. He's here to stay for at least 2 to 3 more years for sure. But it is a 4-year deal, adding that 1 year that we had. He already had it on his contract for his second deal. So I like it, guys. It's a solid move by the Lions. It's a solid move by Brad Holmes, keeping the band together. So thanks, guys. Thanks for coming into the video and watching it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button bottom right, notification bell up top, bang bang, and don't forget to like, comment, share this out. Appreciate it, guys. One pride. Detroit first, everybody. Go Lions. Bang.